welcome and/or welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah. I like to talk about books in my basement. It's been a while since I've said that one, and we're here to talk about the books I've read since the last time I talked to you, which was a couple of weeks ago at this point. The summer hits hard around here. Also, if you hear screaming, you do in fact hear screaming. That is my husband and my daughter are having a pillow fight. So I thought I would take that opportunity to talk to y'all. I just keep putting on. I just keep putting off filming. I just don't enjoy editing. I don't mind filming, but I don't enjoy editing. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like my one big gripe with making videos of any kind is editing, and I've just been putting it off. But I need to do better. It is what it is. It's like the caption making part of Instagram. That's my least favorite part, but it's okay. So it's been a week or two, and I have read quite a few things, and a lot of it has been kind of just blah. I'm gonna be honest with you. So what we'll do is I think I'm going to quickly tell you the things that I didn't love and I don't have a lot of thoughts on, and just get them out of the way, like the lowest rated stuff first, and then we'll talk about the stuff I enjoyed. Make sense? So let's do that. Let's talk about the ebooks that I read. I have been trying, and I've mentioned this before, to get through my backlog of e-arcs. I am not going to tell you how big that backlog is. What I will tell you is that it is it's not double digits and it's not single digits. Okay, that's where we're at in life. Okay, it's not good. I'm ashamed of it and I want to fix it. So I've been working very hard to get through that. So one of my oldest arcs was March's End by Daniel Polanski. This is almost 500 pages, and it wasn't great for me. It's portal fantasy. The idea is this family has ruled this portal fantasy realm for years, and now that their mother is dying, these siblings are set to inherit the realm. But there is conflict in this world. It is like a take on Narnia, but more gritty and dark. There was too much of the contemporary world in this. They weren't always in the fantasy world. Now, the fantasy world itself I thought was very, very cool. I really liked it. But I just did not give three hoots about relationships and everything going on in the contemporary. It just wasn't for me. A book I read that was not an e-arc, but I read it for the Athon book club in the Discord, was Rise of the Reaper by W.D. Swanson. I don't have anything bad to say about this. I gave this a 3. I liked the idea of the skills in this. Our main character dies in real life and comes to wake up in this like fantasy world, classic trope for a lit RPG. And he gets some no, he doesn't die. Does he die? He's summoned, I think. I think that's what it was. He was summoned by a wizard into this fantasy world. He gets some cool skills, like the ability to manipulate space, which is fun for me. I had a not magic. No, yes, not Magic the Gathering. Oh my god. Mage. If you've ever heard of Vampire the Masquerade, there are sister campaigns where you're not the vampire in that world. They're all in the same world. You're not the vampires. You can either be mages or you can be werewolves or hunters, things like that. I was in a mage game and my mage had like a space distortion abilities. And that kind of reminded me of that. He also had something like eternity abilities, which was things to do with his attacks and healing and things like that. It was interesting. I liked that stuff. The writing just was not very strong. And there was this romance that was just all kinds of, oh my god, it was very cringe. I'll try the next book in the series just to see if the author improves and the writing improves, and I do, like I said, like the abilities and the idea of the world, but the romance just didn't do it for me, y'all. Let's skip that one. I want to come back to that one. Let me move forward a bit so I know there's at least 2 that I have read in the past week. All right. 10 Things That Never Happened by Alexis Hall. I genuinely enjoy Alexis Hall most of the time, but this one also just didn't hit for me, and I think maybe it's just me at this point in time. I am not enjoying romance. I am much more in my horror and fantasy era right now, This one, there were some specific reasons I didn't enjoy it. Just to touch on them quickly, I don't like the amnesia trope. I'm a millennial. We had that in like every TV show ever, every book ever in my age bracket. Like it was everywhere, and I'm just lifelong sick of that. But this, to make it worse, is fake amnesia with one of our main characters lying that he has amnesia to his boss, who then becomes his romantic interest when his boss is like, oh no, I feel bad because I inadvertently might have caused your amnesia. And this whole thing. His boss was also just a really big dick. And it just never warmed up. I never warmed up to him, okay? Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It is what it is. It wasn't awful, but I didn't love it. It was like a 3-star. I just really had a hard time with the fake amnesia thing. Like, why are you going to lie like that? Then I read Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark. This was another meh. I think I gave this one a 2-star. This one, you read a book and there's just something that stands out and it's petty and it's trifling, but you're just like, I can't stand it. And so then therefore the book, you're just like, I'm mad at this whole book. I've DNF'd, and this is a me thing. I'm aware not everybody's going to be like this. I have DNF'd books that mention vaping and smoking just on the fact that they have a character that does that. I've lost a lot of family members to lung cancer caused by smoking and other cancers caused by smoking. I also dislike vaping because you're just sucking on a hot coil. So, like, the things just... But smoking especially is a hard line no for me. And I finished this and I looked at the reviews online, and another girl counted. There's like 33 mentions of cigarettes and smoking in this book. And it's like, the whole time I felt like she was trying to make this off as this edgy, cool habit some of these characters had. And it's just, none of those things are words I would apply to that habit. Stinky and gross are the two nicer ones I would apply. So this was a no too. It just didn't work. Besides that, I had hoped that a romantasy with a Vatican exorcism style magic system would have a lot more cool references to some of the like more creepy real life things that you can read about. Whether they're true or not, they're fun to read about online about Vatican exorcisms or the artifacts that they have or the stories that's been populated throughout the time, but none of that was there. World building was sparse at best. So this one, I think I actually ended up giving a 2-star. And then one I finished yesterday, the day before. I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. What was it? The cover is right here. Something You and Me. Hold on. I have yet to put it in my reading journal. It was that recent, but I did put it on my screen's so bright. I've been outside with the birds and the squirrels, and so my screen was very bright. I did put it on my stories. I keep everything I read on my stories for the month. Once Upon You and Me. That's what it was called. Once Upon You and Me. This was another one. I was trying to read some of these queer books, for Pride, and they're just not working. I'm so sad. Another romance that didn't land. This one, the one main character is supposed to be icy cold and cool. He's like the best assistant to this woman. But within a few chapters, his character he becomes this caretaking, soft, kind person, which is great, good for him, but it's not the character we were told repeatedly. So the characterization wasn't strong. And then the other male lead, big, beefy guy, he self-identifies as fat, and he is also ADHD, but he's described as scatterbrained, which, while yes, some people with ADHD are scatterbrained, not everyone is scatterbrained, and it's kind of a stereotype, and I really don't like it. But also, this did a thing that, spoiler warning by Olivia Day, did that I despise. The character, I don't know how to say this without coming off terrible, but it rubs me the wrong way. This main character, this interest, he self-describes himself as fat. He seems rather proud of himself. He's comfortable in his body. The main character calls him tall at one point, and instead of taking that at face value, in that he is tall, he is the tallest of his brothers, he's the biggest of his brothers, he takes that to mean, oh, you're calling me fat, and he gets upset about it. Spoiler warning, did something similar, but it was this whole, she's comfortable in her body, she likes to move, she likes to shake, but the minute she got invited to the gym, she got all kinds of offended. So, like, it just feels, I don't know if it's poor writing, poor characterizations, but it's like, if you're gonna own something, own it. Even if you think somebody else is being mean about it, just be like, hell yeah, that's what I am. That's how I approach things, and it just, I don't know, it feels disingenuous. I don't know how else to tell, just it feels disingenuous. Either to the character, or the character is not truly being honest, and we are being blindsided with that. Anyway, besides that, the third act breakup was fairly contrived, and the characterization for the other characters was really flat and bad. The ex-wife is a bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy, and she flip-flops with absolutely little to no explanation, and so that one, I think I gave a 2.5, maybe a 3. So those are the duds. Those are the duds. That was a bunch of books in 10 minutes that I didn't love. I'm sorry. And again, if those are things you like, it's just, opinions vary. It is what it is. So, the book that I skipped over, I initially gave it a low rating. And I know why I gave it a low rating. Because I hate to say, but it kind of triggered me. That was The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer. I've seen people give this high ratings, and I've seen people give this low ratings. So my initial rating on this was a 2.5. On retrospect and thinking about it, I have to give it credit for doing what it did and doing it really, really well. This is about, and I cannot remember her name now because this was last week, Macy. Macy needs a job badly. She's trying to support herself and her sister, but they are like constantly months behind on rent, and they're just getting lump sums. They're able to pay up to the current month, and then they need a job, they lose money, they, whatever. They're in a bad spot. So she takes this job she finds on Craigslist to house sit this house for the weekend. When she gets there, she's given instructions, and the instructions are, you have to follow these rights to the letter, and if you don't follow the rights, something bad is going to happen. So she, much to the what's the word I want, protest of her sister, she takes this job, and things spiral out from there. And this whole book is basically an allegory, a metaphor, whatever you want to call it, for depression. Macy is depressed, and Macy blames herself for so many terrible things, and she struggles with things. She struggles with being a failure. She struggles with being, unable to take care of her sister. And this whole thing is just depression spiraling out into its worst possible outcome. And it captured what my depression feels like so well that reading it upset me. I make no effort to hide the fact that I take a medication to help me with depression and anxiety. And at my worst, this felt so much like that. So this book upset me for that. But with distance to it, I can see that he did that so well. And I have to give him props for it. Like, the man either has firsthand experience with this, or he did so much research and talked to people who have this, that it's so, not beautifully, but perfectly captured here. So know that. And I think I read somewhere that this might have been optioned or picked up or something for a movie. It would make a great movie, and it would be along the lines, if you've ever seen The Babadook, that movie did a similar thing. My husband hates that movie, but I love that movie because it does a similar thing. But it has a much more hopeful ending, The Babadook, I feel, than this does. This has a not at all hopeful ending. Okay, slight spoilers. Things go from bad to worse to the worst possible way they could go. So know that. So I don't know what to rate this. I ended up leaving it unrated when I made my Instagram review post about it, and I think I'm going to leave it there, and I'm not sure, I'm not ready to donate or trade in this copy yet to the used bookstore. I might keep it for now. I don't know, we'll see. I also have another book by him, his first book, We Used to Live Here. I have that on my shelves. I'm going to read that, and we'll see if I love that, if I like that. I'll keep the two together. If I don't, I'll just trade them in together. So I think that's where I've settled. That book was hard to read, but I really respect what he did with it. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. Okay. So let's do the rest of the ebooks that I finished. Kill All Wizards by Jedediah Barry. This is a novella. It comes out, I thought it came out in June, but I think it comes out much later in the year. This is the first in the Bardic Ledgers, I think, series, and this is Conan the Barbarian. in a comedy of manners with a dash of an acid trip. So if you like the sound of that, this is about Gotchamus, and he is trying to avenge his brother. They got trapped in this magical, warped reality where his brother Leaf is basically killed over and over and over and over again 1,000 times, and he has to watch this happen, and eventually he escapes. His brother finally truly dies, and he escapes, and he vows he's gonna find the wizards in the main city that caused this. It's like this wastewater runoff thing of magic. The magic runs off and it makes these paradoxes, and people can get caught in them. He's going to find the wizards and find them and take revenge. So he sets about doing it, and he's telling a good chunk of his story to his friend Thief, and then in the end we see a little bit of a resolution. This is really good. I really had a fun time with it. It's bonkers, truly bonkers. I absolutely loved Theodora, the character we meet at the latter quarter, and I do recommend it if the way I pitched it sounds good. So again, Conan the Barbarian meets a comedy of manners with a dash of an acid trip. If you think that sounds good, pick it up. I would also compare this lightly to Terry Pratchett. So take that as you will. Let's see. Let's flip back to last month and see what else I am missing. So I think everything else that I have read besides that one is physical. So the last e-arc that I finished was This Movie Doesn't End the Way We Want by Hailey Piper. Now, I read A Game in Yellow by Hailey Piper several months ago. Really enjoyed it. So I said, okay, I'm going to watch for more of her work. This one comes out in September, October, sometime in the future. And also really enjoyed this. She is now on my to read pile. I am going to try to pick up some of her backlist, and if any of her work pops up on NetGalley, she's going to be someone I auto request. This one is about Val. Val is a tattoo artist, a very buff, butch tattoo artist, and she is living in the shadow of what happened to her in 1994. When she was a teenager, she took her younger sister and her friend at the time to the movies, and while they were there, she saw a movie poster for this movie called The Blood Curse of the Toad Man. There we go. I was talking too fast. The Blood Curse of the Toad Man. And she says, okay, we're going to this. It's a creature feature. It's a one day only thing. It looks ridiculous. Let's go. She takes them in. But she takes them in and she's the only one that comes out. Something happens in that theater that she can't quite explain, and she's haunted by it for her whole life. Her parents blame her for the disappearance of her sister. Her friend's parents blame her for the disappearance of her friend, and it just weighs on her all the way up into her adulthood. And now as an adult, she's suddenly starting to face that again. And the whole book is this idea of, what do you let define you? What grief do you carry as a shadow? Her mantra is to live in every moment, but in doing that, she doesn't face what's behind her. And this is also like a love letter to classic cinema and what art can make. There's a deep anger in this for things that imitate art. They take what is made by human hands and mold it and shape it into something of its own, but it's not truly man-made. It's not true art. The author talks about in the afterword the idea of AI, right? And how it steals and creates. Fantastic. And I really loved all of that. It's gory, it's weird, but it's fantastic. I don't have a lot of knowledge or reference for old cinema, but the way she wrote it and the way it's captured on the page, it just came across really well. And I ended up really loving Val, and a secondary character we meet, Rosie, who was also there at the theater when her sister and friend went missing. They grew up kind of in the same town, and their paths cross again in adulthood when everything's happening. They were just fantastic. There's no kind of a love story in this. There's friendship, yes, but no kind of a love story, so don't go in looking for that. But there is that, what do you let define you? Do you face your past and then move forward, or are you just constantly running from it? Great story, and it is scary. It has its moments, right? But it's so worth picking up, and I really recommend it. Now, the last of the physical books that I read, I have been trying to read through my aardvark, so we'll talk about that one. This was a 5-star for me. Another horror, Itch by Gemma Amor. I've been reading horror. I think romance has just taken a backseat to horror for me. That's okay. This is great. This is another queer horror, actually, for that matter. This is about, what was her name? See, I'm bad at names. Josie. Josie has returned home to Maine after a failed relationship in the UK. Her ex-girlfriend threw a brick at her head, knocked her unconscious, and she has a restraining order against her. And so she says, okay, I'm going to move home. I'm going to move back across the ocean where I'll feel somewhat safe. The problem is her dad is not like the most present, loving father. Her mother died when she was young, and he never took it right, and he has struggled with it since. And they have a very contentious relationship. In the first couple chapters, she finds a dead body on a walk out in the woods one day, and the body and bug horror in this is so strong. If you are even the littlest bit squeamish to that, I don't recommend this. But if you like it or you can handle it, this is going to be a heck yes for me. She finds his body, and when she does, things get really weird. Things get really weird for her, and she starts to really, really struggle, right? You start to question her mental state, and then you start to wonder, is something supernatural happening? You find out more women are going missing. You find, or have gone missing. There's been missing women cases, possible murders, cold cases, and then the police get involved. And then, I'm going to be honest with you, in the first, like, 2/3 of this, maybe half of this, I was ready to DNF it, because this did the thing that I absolutely despise in a lot of mystery thrillers, is that the police are just idiots. Just because you discover a dead body doesn't make you're the killer of the dead body, okay? But it redeemed itself. It fixed it. There was a reason for it, and you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with it. It worked. Keep trudging through. If you also hate that, keep going. I think it pays off. This has a weird pace to it, but I actually ended up loving the way it was paced. It's quite quick in the beginning, and then at the later half it slows down. It's almost like it's following the seasons. We're following her through the winter, and then the spring and the summer, and then it slows back down into the autumn when things are going to happen again. It just, oh, it was so good. And it's looking at the idea of taking power back, I think, for women and for those cultures and things that are lost in time, because a lot of this revolves around an old culture in some cultural traditions in Maine, in this area. And I really liked it. There were lots of bugs, lots of really gory, ory things. At one point, there's some stuff with an eyeball that I made a face and some sounds, and my husband, who was sitting next to me, was like, do I want to know? And I said, you probably don't. He's a little more squeamish than I am. And it was very good. It was a 5-star for me, so I really liked it. It was another Aardvark pick. If you have Aardvark and you haven't tried it, this is one you could throw in a box I think you would like. And this cover is absolutely bonkers pink, and I love that. Absolutely love it. I didn't even notice how cool the spine is. It's got these like neon yellow ants on it. So fun. Okay, last two. Real quick, I did read another Mob Psycho. This is volume 6. Volume 5 ended on a cliffhanger where I was like, are you for real right now? And I don't know why I expected what I expected. It's absurd. It's absurdist, and it works. I love it. So I'm still having a lot of fun with this. And Mob has a girlfriend now? We'll see where this goes. Just one volume. I did really like it. I think it's hilarious how this whole little arc with is it called the Claw or something? This organization that's trying to collect superhumans. I really like how that wrapped up, especially with how his mentor shows up and basically guilts the people into not doing it anymore. Fun. Very fun. I'm going to continue. And finally, the cozy fantasy that I finished last week was Cursed Cocktails by S.L. Rowland. I remember when this book came out because I was on the cozy fantasy subreddit right after Legends and Lattes indie released, and I was like, I need more books like that. And this was announced, and it came out, and I picked up the ebook, but then I never actually read it, and I finally am reading it, and this was really good. There is, in the cozy fantasy space, this problem that I've noticed is a lot of people want to knock off basically Legends and Lattes, and it doesn't always work. I've read a few and that haven't worked well for me at all. This one does it so good. This one takes the idea of a cozy fantasy, opening a shop, meeting people, and it makes it work. It's its own thing. It's its own unique thing. And the idea here is Roran, I think. Roran, He is part of the army that defends the people up in the snowy mountains from the behemoths, these beasts that are trying to, come down. He's known as the Bloodbane. He's a blood wizard. Well, he retires because blood wizards, when they use their craft, they have to pull on their own body to affect the blood of these creatures and basically either stop them in their tracks or slow them down so that the other forces can wipe them out. And it damages your body. You basically have a chronic illness after that. Like, your body is beaten and tattered, and you've been abusing it for years. Well, he retires and he moves down to the coast where he's got fresh air and stuff because a cleric tells him it's going to be good for his health. And he decides he wants to open like a tavern sort of thing. He meets this bartender and they decide to open it together. And they're going to use this book of drinks that his dad used to keep when he traveled. And it's just so wholesome. There is a cat, so you can see here. And then there is, in fact, a little fox companion as well. And I loved this. For those Carl fans out there, in Dungeon Crawler Carl, one of the books I haven't got to yet, I know that there is, the author Seth Rowland is a stripper in those books. This is Seth Rowland. S.L. Rowland is the author, Seth Rowland. That character is based on a real guy, and it's this guy. And this book is incredibly wholesome. I loved it. I cannot recommend it enough. I have already purchased Sword and Thistle, which is the second book in the series, and I'm very excited to pick that up. Hopefully soon. I am currently reading 2 cozy fantasies at the same time, and I might just dive into that one when I finish one of those. So that's everything I have read. Very quickly, let me tell you what I am currently reading. And I did get some book mail. I want to show you that too. The Passing of the Dragon by Ken Liu. I got an ARC from Saga Press. I'm so excited. I think what I'm going to start, either tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to read one short story in this, a night or a day, whatever. This is his new collection of short stories. It comes out, what is that? September? In September. I love Ken Liu. I think he is one of the best short story writers we have right now. I just really enjoy his work, so I'm very much looking forward to this. Now, what I am reading, hold on. I got to check my Kindle to make sure I tell you the name right, and I'll show you. I have the cover on the Kindle. Sometimes with ARCs, if you didn't know, there's not a cover on your digital edition, which is why sometimes you will see reviewers put picture covers on Kindles for pictures, color pictures on their Kindles. So I once saw somebody complain about that. We can't help. Some of these books don't have covers when we get them, but I do have the cover on this one. The Reimagining of Thornwood House by J. Lee Johnson. See if you can see that. I think I'm doing that without a glare. This is a cozy fantasy about a young woman who is trying to adopt her ward. Now, she is a land witch, a very powerful land witch, and her ward, her daughter, is a farseer. She can see the future. And she's trying to get them out from under the thumb of this society that's basically using them as pawns in conflicts, wars, what have you. And she finds a loophole in her contract that says if she finds a cause or a branch that still aligns with this group's tenets, which is basically the preservation of magic and the earth and anything on it, they'll allow her to leave. She upsets people, but she decides to pursue this, and she says, okay, I've applied to become a caretaker to a sentient house. See how it looks kind of like a Baba Yaga house? And so she has gone to this village to become a caretaker to this sentient house, and so far I'm about 25% of the way through it. I love it. It's so good. I'm supposed to have a review and stuff up next week, so look forward to that on my Instagram if you are interested. It's fantastic. And the other book I am still reading, Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. I love Heather Fawcett. I am actually doing pretty good. I actually read a chunk of this today. I got to sit outside on the porch. I got yelled at by a squirrel. If I remember, I'll try to insert that footage. And there were cardinals all around. It's a beautiful day outside today, and on my back porch where the shade is, it was perfect temperature. I sat out there for a couple of hours. I didn't intend to do that. But that is it. Those are the only, no, and I take that back, 3 cozy fantasies. I'm listening to The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I'm really enjoying that as well. I have the third book in an e-arc, so I need to read through the first and second to get to it. But I read something by Sarah Beth Thirst a few months ago. I don't remember what it was now, but I really liked it. And I said I've been sleeping on this author. And I stand by that. Based on the 30-40% of the way through I am of the spell shop, I've been sleeping on Sarah Beth Thirst, and I feel silly. So yes, those three things. I'm reading 3 cozy fantasies right now. I went from a bunch of horror, which was awesome, to a bunch of romance, which was not, to a bunch of cozy fantasy, which is currently awesome. So we'll see what next week and the week after brings. But thanks so much for watching, y'all. I hope you have a fantastic week. Be kind to yourselves. Stay cozy, I guess. Let me know what y'all been reading, and I will talk to you again next time. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Bye.